welcome to the Point Noted podcast. And today we are having one of the young and dynamic persons in the Indian material handling or intralogistics industry, Asim Behera, the president of Daifuku Intralogistics India. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's an absolute pleasure to be here.
So when we talk about intralogistics automation, and even this term I am hearing for last couple of years maybe, but I knew you from 2014-15
Yep.
when you came from US to India, and you took some baby steps in implementing storage automation in the Indian manufacturing. When people talk about a lot of ROIs, maybe comparing automation, that time before 10 years, you successfully helped many companies to implement this automation, which they have got many benefits, especially during the pandemic. Things are now changing. So how was this journey? If you see 10 years of automation in logistic warehouse automation.
Okay. Thank you for the question. The first answer to that is we're sitting at Logimath India, which is their first show in India. Logimath, as you know, is a very big event organizer for our industry, globally and more in Europe. For them to be in India means they have to believe that this market has evolved and matured. And then if you look around, you see a lot of companies in the same domain. 10 years ago, this was not possible. This was absolutely not there, and this speaks for itself that even the people who want to promote the industry are considering India now as a very serious market. So the customer angle, the marketing angle, the idea to promote a certain technology, all of that is, I think, at the very best cusp today. It's only going to go upward. 10 years ago, there was a handful of players. You would tell people about an ASRS, they would never understand what an ASRS is. Because there were not that many installations in India, it was very difficult to take them to an actual site. All of them mostly demanded that India mein dikhao. We would say, please come to Japan, come to China. They would say, nahi, we want to see it in India. But it's the chicken and the egg. So we didn't have a site, we could not show them. There's only so much you can show in videos, PowerPoint. And then when we gave them a proposal price, they would call back and very confused. कि आपने कुछ extra zeros add कर दिया कि decimal आपने भूल गया है क्या? Because we could not differentiate, or we could not explain to the customer in their mind a difference between a forklift or a reach truck and an ASRS. So from there to today, when people say, we want an ASRS, how tall should we go? Big change.
But still, you were there in US, and that industry is completely different from the Indian market. So that experience on coming here, like it is like a shoe story, like there is no one is using the shoes, but those challenging days when you see that. And one more thing I must say, that we always feel that it is the big companies, maybe corporate, will be going towards automation faster. But you proved that it is those Indian business, family-owned businessmen who came and became the first customers of Daifuku.
Right. And that is because everyone has challenges. Challenges exist in every ecosystem, but they don't know what the solve is, because the solution providers are not around. Everybody wants, their teething problems, their operational problems, their storage problems to be solved, but they don't know how. And it's not because of a lack of interest, it's because, they're not exposed to it. So I think, when we started, our first business practice was, yes, go to the big names, because they have used it elsewhere. They were also used in India. But very quickly we understood that the Indian division or the Indian arm of a big multinational is not that significant in their total global revenues. And they have a perception that in India, cost of living is less, labor cost is less. What is the need for automation? And they would always want an Excel ROI, right? Versus when we went to the Indian customers who had real challenges, they didn't know where to go, and we were able to convince them, promise them, and deliver. They firmly believe that yes, there are things out there that will help them solve so they can focus on scale. So another, interesting fact I'd like to share, a lot of our customers 10 years ago were around the, let's say, 1,000 crore range. All of them now, 10 years hence, are close to $1 billion company. And it is the investment in technology, investment in, other things that have enabled them to scale. And they believe in that now. Because for them, the market is India. Everything is here. The problems are here. So therefore, they were the early adopters. And that early adoption has made them believe that the only way to scale, apart from marketing, product, is also to make sure that your back end is, works like clockwork. And automation helps you do that.
I think today you have another advantage that you have started making in India. That time you were not making in India. You acquired Vega, then it became Daifuku Vega, and now it is Daifuku Intralogistics. So how this local manufacturing is helping Daifuku to more penetrate or give more Indian-focused solutions to the manufacturers or to the market?
So every company, every country, every region has its own challenges. It's never one size fits all. And we have to always understand that. With that in mind, you can only tailor to that if you are making it locally, because that gives you the ability to then customize, localize, and solve for a specific problem. So when we were traders, we were importing, we didn't have that flexibility. We had to kind of say, yes, you're getting 90%, but this 10%, so sorry, this is our standard, we have to go with this. Versus now, our aim is to make it 100%, give whatever the customer wants. So that's first. Second, obviously there is going to be some cost benefits when we make in India. We understand that all of this in India right now does not have an Excel ROI. Despite of that, people are investing. So to further foster scale of this technology, we have to be competitive. We have to bring down the prices. So local manufacturing will help us in that. And also the lead time. When we start making local, one of the biggest thing is our lead time. Earlier, let's say if we had to, from order to delivery was 1 year, we're looking at reducing that significantly. Because a lot of times, in an inquiry, they've never thought about an ASRM because they didn't know about it. But when they come to hear about it, and if they're driven by the idea of what it can solve, they say, yes, let's do it. But then their whole massive factory plan is going forward, and we have to match that. So it's a very aggressive schedule. That we can now do by making it.
And I think Daifuku Japan is very serious. I think you are investing more 400 crores in the Indian market.
I think Daifuku is the only global, I would say, even top 3 MNC in the world in this segment who is so serious about India. I know we started our journey 10 years back, but within 10 years to set up 2 factories and to make in India for India, I don't think anybody in our domain have done that. People have partnered, people have joined hands with system integrators, a lot of local companies have come up, but no multinational company has this amount of commitment that Daifuku has.
When I see AFR, I believe there is a real challenge for these manufacturers because the land costs are very high. So people are scaling up and they need racking, and vertical racking is the most, I think, solution for the Indian manufacturers. Somewhere their cost for them ROI brings. But still, many people, I believe, is having a mental block. Automation ROI, how it will be done. Still people think about that. But the kind of success what Daifuku is able to bring in the market, I believe it is just a mental hurdle, or is it a real thing?
So as I said, no, there'll always be certain thresholds. So yes, I mean, I wouldn't say mental block. What I would say is basically people don't know what they don't know. So when you don't know something, there's always a hesitation. So that is on us to solve. Us, the ecosystem, all of us to solve that. No, we have to educate more, we have to show them more, we have to make them believe what this is, the technology. So that's first, so that's on us. Second comes the money angle of things. When it is easy, people believe an OPEX is easier. But there are people who believe that, if I do a good CAPEX and my OPEX reduces, they would prefer that. So you have to understand what kind of mindset that particular customer is in. And third, I think more than anything, price does play a factor, but people also understand that regarding the price, like you said, the land issue, even availability of people, right? I mean, we are the world's largest population, but yet, the dependability on a particular time, 24/7, 365 days a year, that nobody can guarantee. We have so many festivals, so many events in our life, that, a lot of the people who work in warehousing industry, when they take off, they take off. But you cannot stop your business. You have to keep going 24/7. In fact, times when everybody's off, it's the busiest for warehouse sector depending on whose warehouse you are. Retail, for example, they're the busiest when everybody else is off. So for such conditions, there is no other alternative but to automate, because you cannot stop your business.
I was there in Europe a couple of times last year and beginning of this year, and one thing what they are talking about, okay, because as you told that India definitely have a lot of cost advantages, but sometimes even the outside people, they think that coming and investing in India, one quality of raw materials, a lot of things are there. Still they feel the productivity is not as compared maybe in Japan or even in Europe. Automation is only the answer, but then we also need smart people to see that this is done. So this global outlook towards India's productivity, lack of productivity, how we can overcome?
See, to be very black and white, people would come and invest in India for two things. A, they believe that this is the market, and B, whatever excess capacity they have built in, they're able to export. Those are the two things why anybody would try to set up a manufacturing unit here. So the first, that A, this is a market. Depending on what commodity they make, that's the study that they have to do. So for us, even in a country which does not have a straight ROI for automation, we're setting up two factories. Because we believe in the future that this will happen. We believe that this is going to be a market. So that's the first reason why we did it. Now second, coming to productivity, yes, there will be gaps because all of this is very new. People coming out of our universities and colleges, they don't get the opportunity to work in so many factories or do internships, in the manufacturing side of things that they know. So that pool will develop. But regardless of that, it comes down to the absolute cost. So for example, many people say, okay, if there is, if I'm using one person in some country X, in India, I may have to use a factor of 4. But even if you put the factor of 4, the total cost is going to be still significantly lower than that. So the end product that I'm able to manufacture is going to be cheaper than what I manufacture elsewhere. So that matters, and that should be one of the major things that matters to anyone. And especially when you come to India and sell in India, the price points have to be different. So this will enable you to do that. So I think productivity, yes, is a question, but it's not a problem for us just yet. We have enough people. So as long as this, we believe in this ecosystem and give enough opportunities by creating factories, making factories, enriching, people who come to work for us, I think in a decade's time, that would be a misnomer.
I think automation plus skilling people, I think is key for us to really give a good challenge globally.
Absolutely.
Last not the least, now 10 years, in between you also was away from India, 3 years you worked. It's a completely different ball game right now. You said, or when you talk about ASRS, the kind of work you've done now, ASRS is nothing new to Indian. Everyone knows. There are a lot of Indian manufacturers also there in this segment. Where you see automation going forward, say next 10 years?
So whatever worked last 10 years will not work the next 10 years, right? That's the first thing that will change. Good thing is people are embracing it. So there's a certain price point that they're embracing because the usual outside of India, because all of this technology is mostly coming from overseas. Yes, there are local manufacturers, they're doing it. They're doing a very good job of it also. But the price point versus, let's say, not doing it is definitely a question. I think our biggest competition is not a competitor of ours, is that we're not able to convince the customer that please go for this technology. So our biggest competition is still a manual system, right? Going forward, looking at how, if we look at our cities right now, it's already starting to become difficult to find good service providers, whether it be drivers, maids, or what have you, right? Because everybody's standard of living is going up and up and up, and they don't want to do all of these hard, laborious jobs. That will only increase. So when that increases, if you have to scale, any company which has to scale cannot say, I have 1,000 people now, I'll have the same 1,000 people working when I scale up 5 times. Or that if I scale up 5 times, I need to hire 5 times more, and I'll be able to find 5,000 people. That's not going to be the case. I think even as you grow 5 times more, you have to make do with the 1,000 people you have, and that the gap between 1,000 to 5,000 is what automation will enable.
It's a great insights what you shared, and I'm sure that this will help us in getting ourselves ready for the future. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and we will definitely catch up with Asim Behera in the coming days, because he is a great supporter of Machine Maker, and thanks for that.
Thank you.
And till then, signing off from Logimat.
Thank you very much.